down in my lowest. You keep me hoping. You call my name, cut through my shame and run to the broken. You call me chosen. Who am I that the Lord of all that's breathing would choose to stay and love me as I am? No height, no depth could ever separate us. Your love is stronger than my fear. And my past, my doubts could never come between us. My God, your love is calling out. You love me first, even at my worst and down in my lowest. You keep me hoping. You call my name, cut through my shame and run to the broken. You call me chosen. Who am I that the Lord of all that's breathing would choose to stay and love me as I am? Oh, no height, no depth could ever separate us. Your love is stronger than my fear. My past, my doubts could never come between us. My God, your love is calling out. Your love is calling out. You are ever faithful, never changing. Nothing can separate my heart from yours. You are ever faithful, never changing. Nothing can separate my heart from yours. You are ever faithful, never changing. Nothing can separate my heart from yours. You are ever faithful, never changing. Nothing can separate my heart from yours. Oh, my heart from yours, No height, no depth could ever separate us. Your love is stronger than my fear. My past, my doubts could never come between us. My God, your love is calling out. You are ever faithful, you never change, and nothing can separate my heart from yours. You are ever faithful, you never change, and nothing can separate my heart from
Oh, hi. My name is Ian Allison. I am here with Brook Music talking to you about the bass guitar and about playing these songs, about playing worship music. This song is called Love is Calling Out. I had an opportunity to record this song. This is actually the bass that I recorded it on. This is my Fender Custom Shop 58 P bass with this just giant neck. and just stable sound. I love this instrument very much. And that song, to me, is all about restraint, right? It's not about chops. It's not about playing a lot of, interesting or exciting figures. It's about letting the song happen and not goofing it up, and not to be passive, but if you're on offense as a bass player, not just not goofing it up, but supporting it, actively choosing to play less and support. There's 3 things that I really value about playing music in general, especially playing worship music. The consistency of your time feel and the consistency of your attack is number 1. Also, intentional part creation. So not just saying, well, here we go, I'm just going to play these notes and whatever, and people like it, I guess, when I play eighth notes. No, but really thinking about, why are you playing eighth notes in this section? Why would you choose to play whole notes in this section, right? And third, visualizing the scene that you want to create. So I sort of think about songs as movies, as little mini movies. And the intro is Act 1, right? And verse is, the build up, and the chorus is the build up, and maybe the pre-chorus, right, is a build to the chorus, and the chorus is like maybe the first action scene. And I know that sounds maybe sort of silly, especially in the context of worship music, but that really is how I think about building songs and building parts. Like, we're building anticipation up to this climax of a part of the song, typically a chorus. And of course, in a building bridge, that's true, right? But for this song, there's not a lot to demonstrate in terms of like, oh, I need to show you how to play this hard thing. It's more about concept, right? So I want to talk to you first about the consistency of attack. So I really do think that the sound of the bass is derived from your hands. Your tone is in your hands, right? So when I play, I'm not lifting away from the string. I'm pulling through the string. And there's a huge difference in sound there. Now, even if I pluck away from the instrument hard, it's sort of a thin sound, even though I'm kind of like, I'm really going for it here. But if I do this, now especially if you have headphones on, or better yet, if you're in a sanctuary with a giant PA with subs, this sound is so much more satisfying than this sound. And sometimes that thing where you're attacking, where it's almost like the sound of a pick or the sound of a slap, right? Sometimes that's really cool, but I find I want the transient information, right? The like peaks to come from drums. I want this sound to come from a kick drum, and then I want to be just slightly behind it with all of this low end information. So that's how I'm thinking. I'm not pulling away, I'm pulling through. There is a very big difference in sonic approach there. And then for this song, in terms of part creation, I'm thinking about separating sections by octaves. When I was a young player, I used to play, sometimes I'd play a chorus up here. And that's fine, that's awesome. The youthful spirit in that is great. But what I'm trying to do in this song is the first time I come in is maybe like in that first pre-chorus in this register, right? And then getting out into the first down chorus is going to be in this register. And then when the re-intro happens, right, I'm kicking on my 3-leaf octave pedal and playing. Because holy moly, that low C, oh, it's just so delicious. And instead of playing all with the kick drums, I'm making a part. And I know it doesn't really sound like much of a part, but I'm letting the first half of the bar breathe. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm leaving a little bit of space, like I'm letting that first note hold. Then then creating a little bit of space between those quarter notes, and it lets the weight of that kick drum really have its moment. And then also in the choruses, I'm playing because what I perceive is the kick drum is having this syncopated interest, but I don't want to play exactly what the kick drum is playing. I don't want to try to lock up in this kind of chorus. I want the bass to be like a wave, right? Where you're just riding through it. So a great way to do that, if you don't want to play all the kick drum syncopation, is to play on beats 1, and then also play on beats 2 and 4 with the snare. So you could play 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that would be only on the first kick drum of a bar and then on either snare on beat 2 or 4. That's a really great way to avoid that thing of going like. And in this tempo, I'm not crazy about that kind of syncopation from the bass. I love it in the kick drum, but then I want to hold footballs and let the kick drum do its thing. Now, okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about gear for a second, can we? When I'm playing this P bass and I'm recording, I typically go through a compressor, and I have a Cali 76 compressor that I love made by Origin Effects, and I'll tell you what, I compress pretty hard so that the length of the note stays for a long time. Right? I also have a little bit of distortion, just a touch of grit from the Line 6 HX Stomp. It's the Tima model, which is the Timmy clone, and it's parallel blended. So there's an A path, which is clean, and then a B path that has a little bit of grind in it. And that sound, then, going through the octave pedal, and that is mixed with a little bit of, well, it's about half and half actually, clean and the octave sound. And that just gives those re-entrances, that like the intro sections of this song, kind of its own flavor and this kind of like menace. I mean, it's a beautiful song. It's this beautiful ballad, but the low end kind of being dirty and really low, I actually think almost sort of like tugs at the melancholy a little bit, which I love that. I'm all about that. And then I go through a Noble DI, which is just a really nice clean tube DI, and that's really all I do. The one part too that I'd love to mention is at the end, sometimes I think about what the vocal melody is doing, and instead of trying to grab all of the drum fill things or all of the kick drum things, I sometimes will like to grab the vocal. So Heart From Yours, there's this great, the bridge, when the bridge comes back around again at the end. You are ever faithful. Think and separate my. That's Heart From Yours. And this is that you just heard why I'm a bass player and not a singer, but I love melodies, right? I love melodies, so I'm always singing this in my mind. Even if I don't know every lyric, I'm always going, that's going in my head always. Heart From Yours, right? And then when I play this, then I will grab the 5 chord, the D here, instead of going, because that's a bit of a nasty fall, right? And then at the very end of the tune, I'm playing, and I saw a bass player do this ages ago. And sometimes, I mean, obviously, if you do an octave pedal, that's sort of like synthetic big, but then rock and roll big, I think, is fifths. It's almost like power chords on the bass. But really, what I want you to take away from this is the fact that you need to shoot for a super clean, consistent attack and sound that that like lays under the band and makes everything sound great and feel great and light up a room with really consistent low end, right? If you're thinking about front of house in your church, you're thinking about playing for a recording, they want consistency. And the more of that that you can give to them without them busting out all of their plugins and squashing the crap out of you, the better. If you show up with a really consistent right hand approach and a consistent maybe compression and a little bit of distortion to kind of like make this thing meld, you'll make everybody really happy. Thanks for checking it out. Happy playing.